say hello to all my friends in South Texas and the Accelerated Ministers Training. And I love that I get to do just a few minutes with you. And I was trying to figure out, what should I do? There's so many things that you want to cover. And I just thought I would do this. And some of you might have read the book, and I'm guessing many haven't. But I wrote a book called Fix It. Whose Problem Is It? And for me, that was a revelation. And going into ministry, wherever step you're at in the process, if you can figure this out, it's going to go so much better for you. And the premise of the book is this: whose problem is it? Is it God's problem? Is it your problem? Or is it their problem? And we think that so many things are God's problem or their problem, and it really is our problem many times. But if you put it in the right category, things go great for you in ministry. It's when you put them in the wrong category that things go wrong. Now, if you look in the book of Acts, here's where I got this from, because in the book of Acts, I realized sometimes God solves the problem. There's a miracle that happens, like the prison doors open and Paul and Silas are free. You see what I'm saying? It's like something that is, God's like, I've got this one. You have not been trained in prison break, so I'll do that one for you. I'll create an earthquake and do that. It's God's problem. He's taking care of it. There are other times where God's like, it's their problem. Like they've got to solve. Think about deacons. They need deacons, and the early church is complaining. And so the apostles say, like, figure it out. It's your problem. You pick people that are good and that will take care of everybody, and you solve the problem. See, it was their problem. And then there's other times it's like, no, this is our problem. I have to figure this out. I have to figure out what I'm going to say, what I'm going to do, how I'm going to get through this problem. God's going to have to speak to me, and I have to have the courage to do the right thing to get through the problem. Now, in ministry, a lot of times, the biggest thing I've noticed is people put it in the wrong category. The things that you need to have courage for, you say, oh God, please fix that problem. Please take care of that. And God's like, just have some courage, step up and finish this and solve it. And I think about Paul speaking to Timothy. He's like, come on, Timothy. Come on, stir up that gift that's in you by the laying on of hands. Come on, charge those who are rich in this world not to trust in wealth, which is so uncertain. Come on, Timothy. That's your job, Timothy. Come on. Okay, so some of the time, you just have to have courage to fix the things that belong to you and not keep putting into God's category. Now, another problem in ministry is you don't let people solve the problem. You think everything has to be you, and you're like, I'll solve it, I'll solve it, I'll solve it, I'll take care of it, I'll take care of it. And God's like, no, I've wired them and gifted them. He talks about it in Corinthians where he says, we're all gifted in different ways, and each part of the body has a part to play. And so when you think, it's all about me, I gotta solve it, I gotta solve it, I gotta solve it, you're keeping people from doing the thing they were created for and solving the problem. And you're really not solving the problem, because you won't do it as good as they will, but you have to trust them, empower them. And I know sometimes that's risky for people, but you've got to do it if you're gonna make it. And then ultimately, there are things you just have to put into God's category. They're His. You can't solve them. And you do have to fast. You do have to pray. You do have to trust. You just have to put it in His hands and say, God, without you, we can't do this. I think about, I'll tell one story and wrap up with this. We were trying to get our building, and the city said, we're going to oppose you. We're against you. We're not going to do it. We're not going to approve it. And so we went and got a lawyer. That's what I could do. I asked the people to come to the city council meeting. That's what they could do. But little did I know that I was trying to solve the problem. I was asking the people to solve the problem. God was in the room with the board, with the council, and He was solving the problem. Somehow He got them to think, hey, River Valley's a great church and they do all this good in the community, and all right, let's approve it. And they come out to the meeting. I'm there with our lawyer, because remember, I'm trying to solve the problem. I've got the people there because I want them to help me solve the problem. But I didn't know that God was already solving the problem. And they come out and they open up the meeting. They say, hey, we were thinking River Valley's such a great church. We love them so much, and they do so much good in the community. We're going to approve their building and their land and that coming off the tax roll. And I almost said, I object, and my attorney's here, and these people. And then I was like, did they just say what I thought? See, I was doing my part, they were doing their part, but God ultimately was doing His part. And so you just gotta know which category it's gonna be in, and sometimes I guess it's all three, and you thank God that He solved it bigger than you could. But you should fix it, and part of ministry is fixing problems. If you talk to your superintendent, if you talk to your leaders, you'll find out Most of the problems they have to solve are people problems. They're issues that are coming up between people and members of the church. It's not deep theological questions. It doesn't require a lot of fasting and prayer. It requires great people skills to lead people that are coming from all backgrounds and all different mindsets. So I pray that you can fix it. And as you go into ministry, you'll take it to the next level. Some you have to fix, some they have to fix, and praise God, there's others that he fixes. And hope that helps, and believing for big things ahead of you in ministry.